We will be getting started in just a couple minutes. Please enjoy the music and slides while we wait for more to join us. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for another Hub 101. Woo! We're so happy to be here. So welcome back again to Austin Coming Together in the Austin Community Hub. As always, I am Janelle Martin.
And I'm Imani Moore.
So as some of you may be familiar with ACT already, ACT is a backbone agency for collective impact, serving a network of nonprofit, faith-based, public, and private member organizations. As part of Austin Coming Together, the Austin Community Hub is a safe space to intentionally and thoughtfully engage disconnected families and individuals in collaboration with our member base to securely connect them to holistic services such as career counseling, housing, continuing education, legal assistance, and much, much more.
Thank you, Janelle. Part of these services include informing our community members about the different organizations that we work with and the great resources and programs that they have to offer. So we created Hub 101s.
Today, we are joined by Build, a staple here in the Austin community, whose birthday it actually happens to be. They are 54 years old today. Woo! And Build's mission is to inspire hope and offer opportunities so youth facing systemic obstacles can achieve positive futures. Build recently had a brand new building right across the street from us here on Harrison, actually. And so we're all excited to tell you all about their building and the programs coming up.
Great. And we will begin with the presentation from Build's Chief Community Officer, Mr. Bradley Johnson, with the support of Build's Manager of Communications and Media, Mr. Daniel Perez. And we will then have a chance for any questions after the presentation. Please feel free to drop your questions inside the live chat and we'll be sure to address them.
So we're going to go ahead and pass it off to Bradley and Daniel. The floor is all yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Bradley Johnson, as Janelle said, Chief Community Officer at Build. And Mr. Perez?
Yeah, and Daniel Perez, thank you all for being here today. Manage Build's communications department, and really glad to be here with you folks today.
Yeah, and so, yes, it is our birthday, and it's always a reminder that the same age Build is the age I'm going to be in a few months. So in May, I'm going to be 54 too. So Build is very young.
Just like you, 54 years young.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I want to make sure I get the right screen up, which is always the fun part. Okay, let's get to the right place. Danny, go ahead and talk while I pull this up.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't know if I got a radio voice, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah, so like everyone mentioned, Build was incorporated March 7th, 1969. So this is our 54th birthday. And through the years, Build has sort of learn how to sort of like continue to grow, to sort of reach our community and our neighborhoods, and continue to evolve and innovate so that we can bring, programming the way our community and neighborhoods need it. And I think you picked up the right clip there, Brad.
Yeah. Danny, I'm gonna have to let you present it. I'm gonna have to let you pull it up because something's going on with mine. Oh, here we go. Okay, can you all see this? Okay, great. Yeah, of course, I'm 54 years old, so that's what happens sometimes. Okay, so just so you know, Build, 54 years old. We've been around since 1969, and here's our mission. Build inspires hope and offers opportunities so youth facing systemic obstacles can achieve positive futures. Now, where do we work? Build, we serve the greater West Side. And so, as you can see, our home neighborhoods for our youth come from Austin. Majority come from Austin, Humboldt Park, Garfield Park, and then others. So those are those connected communities such as Logan Square, Belmont Cragen, and then also Lawndale and some Auburn Gresham, believe it or not. And so we're pretty much split 50-50, serving young women and men. The majority, 70% are African American, 21% Latinx, and then another 8% are multi-racial. And then almost 60% of the youth that we serve are 16 or younger. However, a sizable number are over 17. So as you can see, more than 40% are over 17, and then 20% are over 20. So we actually serve young people as young as 6 up to the age of 26, if you can believe that. And then our program sites, we're in elementary schools, high schools, but also in community sites across the West Side. And so how do we get our kids? Build's youth come to us from several different avenues. When you look at this slide right here, there's from the schools and the principals, from social workers, from neighbors and friends, and we have a street intervention and crisis response team who refer young people to us as well. But then also word of mouth, other young people who are part of our programs. And then we have law enforcement who will drop off a kid at Build. Instead of putting them in the system, we have such a relationship that we look for avenues and ways to keep our young people out of the system. And then also we're well known to the courts and the probation system. And so here's the magic for Build. The services we do, it's integrated services. So there's no one size fits all for young people. So you look at intervention, prevention, education services, enrichment, clinical and community wellness, as well as community engagement. How do we connect with communities to make sure that the community around our young people are also a part of serving and supporting our young people? And how do we work? This is a definition of the way that we do the work that we do. So we connect, we hold on, we heal, and we inspire. So as I said, we were founded in 1969, and we've expanded over the decades to create that continuum of care that was mentioned in the previous slide. But the deal is that we connect with our young people first. And then once we have them, and trust me, all young people, they've been through a lot and they don't trust readily. So they're gonna see if you're really in it for real. And so they'll try to push at you and do different things to kind of push you away. But we don't just go away. We'll roll up on a young person, on their blocks where they hang out. Hey, we miss you. Where you at? And welcome them back. But then the other part is healing. We do a lot of work around restorative justice, mental health services, also other supports for the family and addressing other issues that the family may have to form a way of healing. Because you can't move forward without that. And then the next thing we do is we inspire. As you can see from these images, our young people are involved with so many different things, such as urban agriculture. We have a mini farm over here at Build, camps, homework help, sports, mentoring, but also music and everything else that we are able to grab hold of our kids and show them something more, and then extend them to see a bigger picture for themselves. And so the work that we do, we embed staff full-time in our schools, from elementary, middle school, and high school. We also have a team, we respond to shootings with our crisis response team who go out into a community that's been impacted by violence, by gun violence. We also connect with law enforcement. We are advocates for our young people. We stand in the gap for them. We have members of our team who actually go to the court and stand before a judge and say, please allow us to work with this young person. We have members of our staff who go to the schools and stand with the principal and the deans to say, don't kick this young person out. We want to work with them and we'll help support them so that they're better for you and for this community. And then we also engage with community leaders in neighborhoods. So the bigger picture is everything around our young people. And then we hold on. So through a variety of activities, as mentioned before, art, music, gardening, design, sports, technology, spoken word, music, we do it all. We do so many different things at Build. And then we also have after school programs at schools, but also on our campus as well. And we have out of school time activities, which also includes camps and activities during the breaks and all types of other things that we do with our young people. And then we also create positive peer networks. Our young people learn to connect with each other. And so as they build up that positive support network, now they get them a new gang. They get them a new clique that they're hanging with. It gives them a way to really move forward in their lives. And then we create spaces that are safe and welcoming. I mean, when you look at the things we do inside our building, on our campus, but also on the blocks, where we close off a block and create activities that would help community come outside and be a part of something wholesome, but also safe, but also fun. And then heal. We incorporate mental health into all of our programs. I want to say mental health has been one of the largest components of our growth, addressing the needs of our communities, which is trauma. We deal with historical trauma that has impacted our neighborhoods for decades. And so the old adage is hurt people hurt people. And so recognizing that if you want to break the cycle of violence, you have to break the cycle of hurt. And so in able to do that, you need mental health supports. And so we have a team of counselors, we have therapists, we have people on our staff to work on our young people, plus other types of activities. And then we make therapy easy. So our young people are able to go do art or play in the game room or do another activity, and they actually schedule their own time to meet with a therapist or a clinician. And then at the same time, because it's a part of our programs and it's right there on the floors where our young people are when they come in and out, it eliminates the stigma, because we all know that there's a stigma tied to mental health, but that's starting to change. And I think with a lot of work we're doing, we're rewriting that narrative so that your wellness is important, but it's your mental and it's just as important as your physical well-being. And then we also support basic needs. So a lot of our families need help with food, with housing, with healthcare, legal navigation. We have teams for all of that to help support our young people, but their families as well. So many times when you work with young people and you have a young person with issues, it's not 9 out of 10 times, there's some issues at home too. And so how do you address those needs? How can you tell a young person to put the guns down or say no to drugs without helping them to pick up something else, or also to address the needs that they have that actually perpetuate certain negative activities? And then inspire. So we help young people detach from gangs. We did 48 last year with young people who were actively involved or engaged in a gang and wanted to get out. We have members of our intervention team who are able to negotiate those things. And so there's more discussion around that we can follow up on at another time. We support school success. So homework, classroom support, academic support, tutoring, all those things. And plus, we have a lot of young people who leave school. We work hard to make sure they get reconnected to whether it's a school or a GED program, alternative school, whatever it takes, we'll make sure they get connected. And then we support all post-secondary paths. And that's not just a four-year university, that's city colleges, that's the workforce, that's certificate programs, or whether it's trade schools, whatever it is that our young people that will fit them. so that they find a positive future. We help them do that. And then we also have a scholarship committee. We have scholarships for our young people to help support the cost for them making that next step in their lives. And then we do a lot of work to help young people find jobs, even if that means having them work with us on a stipend or hourly basis, but we make sure that we keep them engaged and connected. And so by the numbers, there are 1,385 youth connected continually to programs and mentors, and over 3,000 that we serve overall. And we have more than 75 active community partnerships, and this is across the West Side. And here's some of the numbers. 96% of our court-involved youth did not recidivate, which is way better than 27%, if you understand math, which is what's the state average. And then 87% of our court-involved youth were assessed as high or very high risk of recidivism when they first enrolled. And then after less than 1 year, only 11% were. So we are really, that's demonstration. I could say anything, but the numbers don't lie. It's a reality that we wrap so many services and support and love around our young people that it gives them a new direction, a new way of seeing themselves. And so you can see here some of the numbers from our surveys that we've done with our young people with regards to mental health. And see, these are important, especially I have experience where I used to work at the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center for many years. And so when you talk to young people, especially those who are involved in gangs, have been involved in violence, when you talk to them about their futures, they don't necessarily see beyond a few years. And so, or their outlook is bleak or is fatalistic in many instances. But at the outcome of working with us and through our programs and support, and also through our community members as well, you can see the increase of over 80% are hopeful about their future. Over 84% are able to manage their emotions. And then also improve conflict resolution skills. All three of those are key. When you want to talk about violence prevention, those are key measures for that and predictors of violence. And so if you look at that, if you're able to turn a person's mind around, you move them in another direction. Then on the flip side, we know that academic success is also a key indicator for health outcomes, for economic outcomes, and everything for our community. And so we see an increased number of young people who are not getting in trouble, who have good attendance, and who are getting better grades with the addition of having some educational coaching in their lives. Now, here's the great part. We're talking about investing in peace. And we're intentionally not saying, okay, investing in violence prevention strategies. What we're investing in is the peace. What it really costs for us to deliver the services that we provide per youth compared to the system or the state. So $187,000 it takes to incarcerate one youth, as opposed to less than $4,500 for the work that we do. And if you look at these pictures, that's me and my son up there in the top right corner. And those images, that's me and my son Jackson. And so even he comes to programs. And so, Dr. Danny.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share a quick video with you folks. Thank you, Bradley, for walking us through that so far. I mean, I've been at Build for going on 12 years now, and I listen to the work that goes on, and it still amazes me, you know, as a staff member of everything that we offer our young people. So investing in peace is something that we believe in, and that's what sort of was a thought process behind this new facility. So I'm going to share a quick clip with you folks of what our vision was of the new facility. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. That good there for everybody?
Yep. visual rendering, visual rendering of our space. Wow, that's amazing. And we definitely want to have the fireworks too. Once we finish the front field, out front, we plan on having a Ravinia type festival right there on Harrison and Laramie. And it's going to be amazing. And so, Danny, thanks for sharing that. Now I'm going to go back and okay. So what Danny just showed you, that's our investment in peace. When you look at, these are the renderings of what you just saw, and it depicts our campus. We sit on one full city block, directly across the street from Michelle Clark High School, and then Austin Come Together just a block down. And when you come to that corner, because Michelle Clark is also redoing their field, they have tennis courts and all that, there's going to be such an amazing feel like this small town or a college campus or energy, because inside of our space there's so much, from the game room to the gym room to the stadium seating. But we also have a full cafe in partnership with Momentum Coffee. So this will be a working cafe, a real business. You could count on less than one hand how many cafes are across the Austin community. And this one will be open to the community. And Momentum will hire from the community, hire our young people, train them to be baristas, and also work in the restaurant business. But then we also have a full commercial kitchen right behind the cafe that, in partnership with the Greater Chicago Food Depository, will be doing training in food service preparation, but the food service industry as well, but also the restaurant management part of it, and then a relationship with Hyatt, so that our kids would also get some culinary and then some hospitality management training as well as community members. Another part of our space is the Peace and Justice Center. That's a space where it's an activation space for our community for all ages, where you could come in and we'll have classes in civic education, restorative justice, conflict resolution and peacemaking, and then other activities as well. And then the youth lounge, the recording studio, art studio. And then when you want to look at what the benefit is to our community, and it's an enduring investment in the Austin community. So when you look down this list, we'll be able to serve upwards of 2,500 young people every day within our space. But there's amenities with the physical health, with the gym and the track. We also have the walk-run track, a fitness room as well. We'll have our garden and farm, which is right outside of our building. And so we'll do culinary and farm to table and harvesting, cooking education, also urban agriculture education as well. Mental health, which we mentioned, music and arts, and then all this safe space for youth and for the community. And then also workforce development. So there's going to be a lot of jobs created. We also have partners coming here where we'll work with our young people. So every one of our programs, even our maker space, which wasn't really shown in the depiction, we have a maker space, a fab lab with Museum of Science and Industry, which will also teach and engage our young people around the STEM programs. And so we look at job training and job growth, but also amplifying partners. Right now, you can't see this, but dead set across my office, we have phase 2 of our project happening right now, where we're adding more than 6,000 square feet for that to be shared partner space. There's a number of partners in our community who don't have bricks and mortar. They're working out of their cars, they're working out of their basements, they got pets walking behind them and kids talking and crying. but they need a space to meet with people. And so we're going to be able to offer that space. And so this is also different spaces and rooms in this space will also be able to be rented for events and other activities. And so I think that's it, other than we got one more video to show, don't we, Danny? And this is sharing you something that this is a sneak peek. Everybody didn't get to see this except for the people who actually came to our ribbon cutting.
Yeah, so everyone who's on the call, you're welcome to come and visit us, but we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a real world, a real life sort of a video of what the building actually looks like. And so this is what this video is. But again, we encourage you folks to come in and visit us and reach out to us and come on in and take a walk through the facility. But here's a little insight of what we got going on here.
That's right, I forgot to mention our wood shop.
We don't want to say it again.
Dan, thank you for sharing that. So that was a clip from our ribbon cutting and grand opening that we held last weekend, wasn't it? And so it's,
25th. It seems like forever ago, but man, that was not long ago at all.
yeah, it wasn't long ago at all. And so we are open. And so we have our youth programs actually started yesterday. And our building is actually open for community programs between 9 and 2, and then again at 5:30 up until about 8. But we carve out 3 to 6 for our youth programs. But we also have programs for seniors as well. We have a partnership with Mather, and they do activities and programs. We have with our fitness team, they have some senior fitness as well. Plus, we have a host of community partners who are sharing space with us at this time. So I know we probably have some questions.
We most definitely have some questions. First of all, that was beautiful and incredible. And every time I see that video of the opening day, it just kind of makes me tear up a little, because it was, for anybody who wasn't able to join, it was truly a magical experience getting to see everyone come in this space. I'm so pumped for the entire community to go in. It's wonderful. So to get us started, we've got a couple different questions. So we want to know, let's see, someone wants to know, will you share any additional resources for seniors or the community as a whole? So you did mention already that the space is geared towards youth and you do have some senior programming, but what is the goal long-term for engaging the whole community?
Right, so the goal is, we recognize that, now don't get me wrong, we are a youth development agency. So youth are at the core of what we do. However, we know that it's the whole community that creates whole individuals. And so our young people need their elders, they need their parents, they need the whole community. And so it's intentional that we actually will have programs that are open for community. And that's why we have times carved out for just young people alone, but sandwich around that is for community time. And so there's a lot of intentionality. And so, however, we're going to be phasing in the senior programs. And when I say senior, that's 55 and older, which I'm almost a senior. And then, but programs is open for adults over, in the mid, 20s or whatever. Those will be phased in after April. So we have to start living in this space. So we're going to kick it off firmly with youth programs, then add in other programs, but with every intention of having this space be fully utilized by community. So there's various activities and supports, but it also has to match, I think, the mission and vision and values that Build has, but that the outcome is that youth is served. However, again, another however, I've worked with Mather, with this organization called Wisdom from the Edge. There's also the Senior Satellite Center across the street. And then there was one other group that we've been working with, and we actually have a team right now to do focus groups with our seniors to get feedback about what type of programs they want. I can foresee some of our spaces having the stepper sets and some bid whist contests and tournaments and all that, because old folks love bid whist for some reason.
Okay. I'm loving it.
Great. Hey, let's see. All right, someone wants to know, is there any interest or are you pursuing initiatives that connects the arts with activism?
That would be with our Peace and Justice Center. Our Peace and Justice Center is a space for Build to get connected with advocacy. And so when we talk about art, our art is a part of what we do, but through the Peace and Justice Center, we've already thought about art is a big part of what we do, although we're not specifically an arts agency. We use art as a voice for our young people to say and to exercise what they're feeling on the inside that they don't have words for. But definitely art for advocacy, and I think that's always a part of like the work. But I think it's a matter, it has to come through connection with the community, connection with partners who could help facilitate that. And so that's not a problem.
Okay. So similar to some of the adult programming, TBD to come. We'll
Yep.
see how, okay. We'll see how the community chooses to develop that. Okay. We have someone who is wanting to know, and I believe you touched on this a little bit during the presentation in terms of how many youth you're looking to engage. But someone from the community wants to know, in your geographic footprint, how many youth do you consider to be potentially interested or long-term benefiting from your work?
Oh, wow. Now, if you think about how directly, indirectly, we may touch over 5,000 young people every year. So I think with this space, and this was before we had 10,000 square feet, we were able to serve about 1,000 kids every year. So if you magnify that, now we're 5 times more. So easily 5,000 young people that I see us being able to reach. Now, when we want to talk about that, there's, you can play with numbers all kinds of ways. There's duplicated and non-duplicated at one time versus, and so there's a measure of, I think what our initial goal is about 1,500 is the initial goal, and then we'll ramp up from there as we extend our hours and then expand programs.
Okay. And kind of as like a second tier to that, what is the referral process or like intake process for those programs like? So how do kids, once they're interested in this building, can they just randomly show up, or is there like an actual process they have to go through? So
they can show up. However, I think we do have to capture some information on them. And then also this came from our young people. We do have a sign up process, a registration program process for any particular program to capture their information. But also that's a form of how do you measure and track? You have to have some individual data. But also our young people said, it's okay for young people just to show up, but they shouldn't just show up like 3 or 4 times straight and never get connected to something. So we actually have an intake person and a team that's on the campus to actually meet young people who are coming in, walk them around the space, show them what we have to offer, find out what they may be interested in, do some kind of work with them to connect them. But we also got to get parental you know,
All that.
consent and all those things. So we have to do a process for that. However, we don't tell a young person, you cannot come in here. We want you here. But here's the things that we're gonna need from you so we can make this fruitful for you.
Yeah, and just if I can add real quick, on Build's website, www.buildchicago.org, there is a request for services button, so you can easily click on that and fill out some general information, and we will circle back. But new with the new facility is a Build app, which can be downloaded off of Apple and Google Play Store. So that's new. So it's something that you could download. You can sign up for a few classes that are available, but then that's another way for us to capture young people and adults. So get on the Apple and Play Store platforms and download our app.
Okay.
Nice.
And I'm sure, Danny, I know that's gonna get posted on social media or anything.
Yeah, we're slowly sort of getting that information out. Reason for that is, as you know, we have a lot of classes that are already kind of filled up, so we don't want to have folks jump in and not see all the different options they have. But that's a good way to stay up to date as programs sort of open up and we start delivering more sort of opportunities for folks. That's a good way for folks to get an idea of what we got going on.
Okay,
Nice, great.
that's awesome.
Hey, when do you all anticipate the cafe will be open?
The cafe will open mid-April. So they have to go through this whole licensing process with the city to get their permits and all that stuff, but they will be ready to go in mid-April. That's gonna be dope, because I'm a coffee snob, but they'll also have smoothies, sandwiches, and different types of sweets and all those great things too.
I'm telling you right now, since we're across the street, I will be over there every day, like every morning, first thing for a smoothie. I'm gonna be there constantly. So Bradley, I'll see you at the AM.
I'll be there.
As kind of a second tier to that question, because you had mentioned youth are going to be able to work at the cafe, correct? Will there be other public spaces that are currently available in Build that folks will be able to like build a business through or like be employed through? Or is the cafe really the main source at the moment?
I want to say the cafe is the main source,
Okay.
but we're also across our programs, one of the things that we're going to look at, how do we launch our entrepreneurship, social enterprises. Now, I think that we also need to take advantage of resources like Westside Forward that help people incubate and build businesses, but also the team from Momentum Coffee. They're actually going to do workshops for aspiring entrepreneurs to help them understand, how do you navigate that? How do you launch something? And so they're going to use what they've learned through trial and error, and they're a Black-owned company. And so they'll be sharing out their knowledge and information. But there's, I think that if anything comes out of there that could build out businesses, it's going to come through our youth programs. And it's going to start with our youth from brand build, which is jewelry making. We foresee a lot of stuff. I don't want to just say it, because I always say to people like, Bradley, don't you tell people that. But our maker space, the wood shop, where they'll be able to create and make stuff. They'll make talking pieces for the restorative justice circles and activities we host in the Peace and Justice Center. And then with Revolution Workshop, which is the partner that's based in Garfield Park, they actually have a social enterprise side as well. They design and make like cutting boards and furniture and stuff like that. So every single one of our spaces, and I'll say this, Columbia College is tied to our recording studio, Revolution Workshop with our wood shop, Museum of Science and Industry and Fab Lab is the partner for our Makers Lab. And then we have a tech center with computers and everything. Every single one of those spaces is tied to a partner. So career and education. So we're developing out a pathway. So it's not programs for programs' sake, but it's programs with a purpose, so that everybody who's coming through those spaces can also see the possible potential careers and future tied to those spaces, and making sure we bring in people to do workshops and activities who look like the participants, who look like the community, to share with them all the types of jobs that are out there. Think about STEM, think about the recording industry. It's more than just the rapper or the singer. There's those technicians, and we have a state-of-the-art audio, the recording studio side is state of the art. And then learning how to do that particular work is a lifetime career.
Mhm. Oh, big time, big time. And you, just to kind of hear about those spaces a little bit again, you've got a whole new wood workshop in the back, a whole new state-of-the-art studio, and in your maker's lab, you've got a wall full of sewing machines, 3D printers, and then like a whole, like another art studio that has canvases and paints and acrylics and and like, so there is everything
Yeah.
you could possibly like to be creative, to learn and find your own individual path in these spaces. It's incredible.
Yeah, and on top of that, spoken word, dance, we have a choir, our kids do public speaking. We have a public speaking contest, and so where they share their story. So they develop and tell their own story in a way of that's transformational. And so and then building leadership, we have the youth council, and then we have what we call the apprentice mentorship programs. And those are young adults, teens, emerging adults who are being mentored to take leadership, to be civically engaged, to lead. You're going to see more and more young people in the forefront. We're a youth development agency, and so you're going to see more young people in the forefront of what we do.
Nice. Nice. And I know you guys are big in the arts, but another component of that is mental health and health in general. So will you be affiliated with any particular health providers at this site?
Well, even in talking about mental health, we have about 30 clinicians on staff. We're still hiring. We have a partnership with. There's a mental health collaborative on the west side, which includes Bobby E. Wright, which is also right across the street from us. And then don't forget physical health. So we're working on a partnership right now, potentially with Rush. We want to have an on-site clinic, a health clinic, because one thing is really important: access to healthcare for our community, which will be free of charge, free to our young people first, and then expand it out. But also health education. I was so disheartened to be on a meeting where they were talking about HIV and how overall the rates are declining. However, in the African-American community is climbing. And that's due to a lack of education or knowledge about it, that we have to make our young people aware of their physical and sexual health as well. And so helping to be a proponent of health, but with the fitness, we call it a fitness lab that will be really dope, the walking and run track, plus different programs that's talking about wholeness. We have the corridor, when you talk about mental health, we call it the soul. And in that space is where there's counseling, mental health support services, someone to talk to, the physical health, really focusing on it all. When you think about our space, also thinking about with our garden is talking about nutrition, your physical being, teaching and sharing with our young people how to take what we have in our garden. Look, I'm a city boy, 100%. If you would try to get me to eat something off a tree years ago, I'm looking like, I don't trust this. Yet I'll go into a grocery store and it's on a table that everybody's touched and I'm ready to buy that. But to recognize it, for our kids to plant it and then grow it, harvest it, and then eat it, prepare it, and see what the benefits are of it. And then also about the ecology. There's a whole lot involved. So anyway, we talk about mental wellness. It's the clinicians, it's the programs, it's the activities. Our whole campus is designed to be as comprehensive, one-stop shop for the wholeness and wellness for our young people.
Great. And you mentioned the fitness lab. Could you kind of touch on how the community residents are able to kind of book these spaces out?
Yep. So we are pulling all that together. So there will be community times for it. So of course, it's not a huge space. So it only holds about 15 people at a time. So there will be a schedule. So we're going to put out a schedule for all of our spaces, all the activities, all the programs that can be signed up for so that the community can access those. Don't look for those until later in April. Because we're learning to live in this space right now. We gotta get all the kinks out and work through it before we invite other people in. It's kind of like, let me get my house clean before I have company. So us working out what we have and what we're doing, but then we're gonna open it up and have a program guide and everything that we have to sign up for available to community.
Yeah, and just to quickly add to Bradley's point, back on our website, I would keep folks heading to our website. On the footer of our website, there is a way to sign up for our newsletters. I would advise that you sign up for our newsletter. That way you can get up to date and all the updated information on building scheduling, programs that are offered and everything else with going on with Build. Newsletters are a great way to stay in touch.
Yeah. And so with the website, www.buildchicago.org. And then also we will be with the community engagement team canvassing in the immediate neighborhood to make sure we have a lot of neighbors who, they frankly, not going to get on the internet.
Mhm.
But we want to make sure that our neighbors are able to access this space. So what difference does it make what we have if the people immediately in this area can't access it? So we want to make sure that it's accessible, and we are still doing tours and welcoming people in and show them around.
Okay, absolutely. That brings a couple questions to my brain. First, I've got y'all's website that I will absolutely share up here with everyone in just a second, so we can look at how to get those newsletters, because hey, more info, the better. But to go along with what you were just saying about you're going to have community or staff members canvassing across the community to let people know that this is accessible to them. Do you have any volunteer opportunities as well for people to get involved with the building and to then help maybe encourage other youth who don't know about this? How do they go about that?
Of course. Of course we have volunteer opportunities. Of course. We welcome volunteer support. And then we also have a volunteer coordinator. Also on our website, if you're interested in volunteering, you could immediately, click on it where it's connect with us. And so you could go in where you could get involved as a volunteer.
And then we go down to volunteer.
Yep.
Okay. Just give my computer a second. Okay. So it looks like we can sign up as individuals and groups. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. So anybody who's interested in volunteering, looks like this is where you go. And then as Daniel mentioned earlier, at the bottom of the screen, and I'll also go from the home screen as well, here's where you can subscribe to Build's newsletter. And like I said, from the home screen, look, it's the brand new building, all the wonderful details. And again, you just want to scroll on down and they've got sign up for newsletters there, here, and all the different ways to get a hold of them.
Yeah. We do a lot. We really do. And, I just want to say that I'm at Build. I grew up in the neighborhood and I grew up with no positive connection to the community because I grew up during the 80s. And they talk about stuff being rough now. 80s and 90s was a different era. But how, just to think about the work I've done with young people, and what the work I love about Build that's so important is that we embrace the same young people that people were terrified of, barred from places, ostracized, kicked out of schools, get in trouble, get locked up. Although those are the young people we embrace. Those are the young people who become leaders. Many end up working with Build. And so it's a real deal, it's a real thing. And I think that we are extra. I would say that if you come around us, we're some extra people, but it's very sincere and it's very true and authentic, the work that we do.
Great. I think we got a couple more questions left. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, two factors that have been talked about with all the development going on in the Austin community and involvement. I'm sorry, let me reword that. Two factors that have been talked about with all the development going on in Austin, in the Austin community, involvement in government investment. How will Austin catalyze your project toward long-term sustainability, sustainable capacity growth in the neighborhood? If that made any sense.
Well, let me see if I could dissect that a little bit. Well, in thinking about our project, here's the first thing I'll say, and as a native of Austin, knowing that this neighborhood had not been invested in, I will be 54 in about 50 years, essentially. Or yeah, close to 50 years. And so when you get off of 290, exit on Laramie, this is one of the first stops people will see. Immediately, it speaks to viability of this community. Immediately, it speaks to the worthiness of Austin to have not just a random building, but a beautiful and inviting space that's dedicated and will support the community. And then how would it catalyze? Think about the young people and the programs that they're going through. There will be connected to education, careers within their community. So they're doing this here in Build. Remember, I told you how I didn't have positive connections to the community. So truth be told, I couldn't wait to leave the community because I couldn't find any peace. But to have young people have a positive connection, plus with the multiple partners that we have, youth activated as leaders, now taking advantage of opportunity and what that would mean for them to build and create and incubate and start and do things within Austin. That's half the battle right now, because most of the issues that people claim is the problem with Austin is around safety. A lot of the work that's being done through spaces like Build, but also other projects that are coming, will start to turn the corner on a lot of those issues. The other part is that, again, when you see this space and you also see, for instance, our shared workspace that we'll have, that we're adding, that 6,000 square feet, that helps other partners who are aspiring business owners or nonprofit leaders or social enterprises to get a foothold. Not only will they have space to work and meet with people, but they'll also have access to the expertise that we have here at Build. So you can actually walk across a hallway and talk to somebody that leads and does things. Plus, in the atmosphere of that space, you have people who are already doing it. So then now you have a community of practice, a community of experts that you're drawing from. And then it's that can-do, innovative attitude. And then the other part of it, and I think that this is important, is that for every person that we touch and the partnerships that we have will inspire others to take the step to do something more. To understand, to get this project done, we had to push, pull, grab, harass, bug elected leaders and foundations and other people. We had to have them change the way that they perceive how they do business to make sure that they supported the efforts, because it's one thing to support a program, but you have to house those programs. And so the push for it. And so it's also telling people that it can be done and it will be done. And we're always willing to share how we did it and what it takes.
Nice, nice. Great answer. No, seriously.
That was, yes. For a question that you're getting on the whim, that was spectacular. To kind of continue with that, and part of what you had mentioned was like there hasn't been a ton of development in Austin in the last 50 years. And as you mentioned, this is going to be one of the first big, beautiful things that people see coming off Laramie. One question that it looks like a community member had was, how will this development and some of the continuing development that's happening in Austin potentially affect property taxes or, of the space around you? How are you seeing this new development directly impact, the houses and streets right next door?
The one thing that I can say is that I don't know about how it's impacting property taxes right now. This is brand new. But then on the other end, as a property owner, in many instances, the values of your home. Because you have to understand, we're dealing with systemic inequality.
Yeah.
The same house on Congress and Laramie, you can have exact same floor plan, exact same house. If you go north into Lakeview or something, exact same house, that could be, it'll be priced in Austin $200,000 less than a home in Lakeview. So that you understand that what you own is also your wealth as well. And so what legacy do you have to leave for your families, and how do you, because a lot of families, a lot of other communities, that's where their wealth comes from. And so understanding that there will be some, I would foresee increase in property values. However, when you think about a lot of the activities that are taking place right now, there is a sustained effort. When you think about the Aspire Center, which will be a workforce development space, build some of the programs we offer. What we are doing is preparing the community to participate in the economy, to be able to have not just a job, not just a living wage job, but a great earning job. We think about partners we have like Revolution Workshop with the wood shop. They actually will introduce our young people to the trades. When they're 18 and older, they could get into a certification program that gets them on track to be getting an apprenticeship, but also to become a licensed and a skilled tradesperson. My father was a painter, and I had 8 siblings, and he took care of all of us. It was 9 of us. My mother did not work. And so to understand the potential for the seed that's being planted right now, I think when we, look at the cost benefit and all those other things, you'll see a benefit to the community.
No, absolutely. And that was kind of a second tier to their question was, is the goal of this to create long-term community wealth? And it sounds like not only this project, but all of these development projects that are currently happening in Austin, that is really the key to all of them. Is the goal is to make everyone else know how valuable Austin is, because we here in Austin already know how valuable it is. We just want the rest of the world to know.
Yep.
Great. I believe, got one last question. What hours will the center be open? This is an important question.
So we are phasing in and extending our times as we build capacity. So right now, we're open between 8 and 8. So, but then community is able to come in for activities and programs between 9 up until 2. We have a transition time. 3 to 6 or 5:30 is youth programming. And then again, from between 5:30 and up to 8 is again open to community. So, and that's all ages, come in and use spaces. And so as far as the specific programs, again, we'll be updating that with what we're offering. We don't plan to really offer a lot of external things just yet. It won't be until after like mid-April that we'll be opening up and have more activities for a community to actually come in for.
Okay. So really just pay attention to the website right now. The one we drew y'all to earlier, just keep up on the website, those hours, and then the app as well. The app will and the app, is that currently accessible on Play Stores, or are we waiting on that as well?
Yeah, it should be downloadable now. You just got to search Build on both platforms. BUILD.
Okay, that's so exciting. Okay, cool. Then I don't think we have any other questions currently. Bradley, Daniel, is there any last minute things you want to let the Austin community know? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, feel free to contact me. Like you all know, people reach out to me all the time, and I do tours often. I'm also available to follow up with you. And then also, if you have an interest in using space or whatever, let me know. And then we could talk about it so we could get things figured out. Just whatever. I think we're open to hearing from you. We want to hear from community. We want community involved. And so I'm also going to be building out a community advisory. So more to come on that.
Okay. What is the community advisory? I mean, just like a quick description.
Community advisory will help us and guide the activities and programs that we do. We want to make sure that it reflects the community. Now, I've got to recognize too, that Build serves the greater West Side, so that's Garfield Park, Lawndale, Humboldt Park, and those other neighborhoods. And so we're looking at the whole West Side. We're based in Austin, so of course, I gotta get Austin, some VIP treatment. But still just looking at like getting feedback, also sharing out what we're doing, hearing back from what it looks like, what's happening on the ground. We have to stay connected to what's really happening around us, because otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could just add, I appreciate everyone jumping on and learning more about the organization. Website's a resource for everyone, but I also want to add, in addition to the newsletter, social media. We stay active on social. We're on all the platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, we stay busy. So if you're on a preferred platform, follow Build at Build Chicago is the handle, but follow us on social media as well. A lot of good content out there.
Are there some TikToks of Bradley and Daniel, you doing some TikTok dances? Do we have that yet?
It's funny you say that, because we are in the works with our youth council, like Bradley I mentioned earlier, to have sort of a youth focused platform, and TikTok may be the platform for as long as it lasts. I hear that TikTok may be removed at some point, but we'll see. Young people having the lens of our young people while they sort of grow through our programming is something that we talked about doing. So that may be coming out pretty soon.
Okay, well, I'll be the first to start the petition for a dance from y'all. Just putting that out there.
Hey, you were asking her. I know how to do something. I got a little something for you.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us. Bradley, Daniel, for doing an incredible presentation and taking the time to tell us all about Build, not only who you are, what you do, but the incredible things to come. So big round of applause for that. Thank you so much.
And happy birthday again. Happy 50th birthday to Build.
Thank you.
Yes. And the only other real quick housekeeping thing we've got here on our end is everyone please stay in tune for our next Hub 101, which I'm actually going to toss this up here right now. Our next Hub 101 is actually next Tuesday, March 14th, and we will be working and highlighting an organization called 100 Black Men. They actually work with Build. And so we get the chance to learn all about their incredible program, who they are, what they do, and how you can get your incredible young Black men involved in the work that they do. So thank you so much again. Please don't hesitate. If you got questions, comments, concerns, you can reach us here at ACT. You can reach out to Build. Thank you, everyone.